Archangel Michael tried to visit you last night, but the enemy blocked the encounter. This message is what he was sent to say. The night just past was not ordinary. It wasn't random. It wasn't accidental. It was spiritual. A moment had been scheduled in eternity. Your name was spoken, your spirit was called, and the heavens leaned low to deliver what had been sealed in divine urgency. Archangel Michael, the warrior of God, the prince of the heavenly hosts, was sent from the throne of the Almighty with a word crafted specifically for your soul. And yet, the message did not reach you. The visitation was blocked. Between midnight and the first breath of dawn, the sacred hours when the Spirit of the Lord moves most deeply and angels walk the borders between the unseen and the known, something stirred. You may have felt it. You may have woken up with a heavy chest, or with your thoughts tangled in confusion, or maybe your dreams evaporated like smoke before you could interpret them. That is not coincidence. That is interference. You see, heaven had scheduled an encounter, the divine exchange. But in the invisible realm, something intercepted the transmission. It was not simply silence. It was spiritual resistance. The kind of silence that chokes revelation. The kind of silence that pushes down clarity like a stone over a well. That silence you woke up to as the sound of warfare. Michael was sent to confirm your next spiritual assignment. He carried instructions, clarity, and a sword of breakthrough. But the adversary, cunning and afraid, sensed the weight of what was coming toward you. So he positioned resistance, hoping you would forget the moment even happened. But your soul knows better. You've been restless. You've been spiritually stirred, unable to explain why. You've been walking through the day with a lingering feeling that something was supposed to be different. That's because it was. This message, this very moment, is not reaching you by chance. That is the continuation of what was delayed. The divine word is still alive. It is still coming. Heaven is reopening the channel. The fathers have forgotten you. The Spirit is still speaking. And now that the resistance has been exposed, you are being called to stillness, to spiritual obedience, and to listen again. What was stolen in the night is returning by morning. Type "I receive" what was blocked in the comments if this is for you. Blessing code 777 is now activated. Listen carefully, says the Spirit. Before sunrise tomorrow, something in your atmosphere will shift. This is not imagination. This is not an emotional surge. This is not coincidence. This is a divine interruption. And not for your fear, but for your awakening. The Spirit of the living God is pressing into your timeline, forcing open what the enemy tried to lock. The veil between dimensions is thin right now. That pressure you feel, it's not stress. It's spiritual proximity. Archangel Michael, commander of heavenly hosts, defender of those who are called, and enforcer of God's declarations, was sent with your name on his tongue. He carried a sealed message, one forged in the throne room, destined for your destiny. And yet, his arrival was met with resistance. Not hesitation from heaven, but obstruction from hell. The enemy launched an interception the moment the angel descended. Because what Michael was carrying would have shifted your entire next season into acceleration. His sword was drawn. His presence illuminated the realm between waking and sleep. But your spirit, though alert, could not translate the transmission. That is why you woke up heavy. That is why your dreams felt distorted. That is why the clarity you were hoping for felt clouded. The interruption was real, and it was targeted. But listen now, for heaven is still speaking. The Spirit of the Lord declares this is selective. Not everyone will feel this. Not everyone will recognize the time. But those who have felt this divine tug, this burn in the chest, this ripple in their atmosphere, you are the ones this message was intended for. The rest will scroll past. But you will feel the pull, because your name was etched in the angel's scroll. Time was suspended last night. You may not have realized it, but heaven did. While clocks ticked on the wall, in the spirit, a war was raging. Not over your destruction, but over your direction. The enemy knew what was coming. That's why the warfare increased. That's why relationships felt tense, decisions felt overwhelming, and your discernment felt foggy. Every delay you've experienced in the last 48 hours was part of this greater plot. To steal, stall, and silence. But what God begins, God finishes. The delay was never denial. Heaven is persistent. The divine realm is realigning the moment right now, through this very message. The words that were blocked are now flowing. The angel's visitation is being spiritually echoed in this delivery. What could not enter through dreams is now entering through revelation. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are not disqualified. The Father is reinitiating the encounter. So pause. Breathe. Listen with the ears of your spirit. Because before the sun rises again, something in your atmosphere, your relationships, your decisions, your emotions will begin to shift. The seed of this shift was meant to be planted in the silence of the night, but now it is being planted in the awareness of your spirit. The spirit is whispering, "Be still. I am re-speaking what was stolen. I am delivering what was delayed. I am resetting what was resisted. And I will finish what I started." Type "I am awake" in the spirit in the comments if this word finds you. Blessing code 1144 is now covering your household. There has been whispering in spiritual places. Whispers not from heaven, but from watchers in the dark. You have felt it, even if you couldn't name it. Something in your atmosphere has been off. A shift in someone's tone. A subtle change in how they look at you. A sudden emotional weight with no clear cause. This is not a coincidence. It's a signal. You've been monitored, not just by human eyes, but by ancient forces assigned to intercept what was meant for your spirit. The night of the visitation was never just about a dream. It was about surveillance. It was about silence. It was about sabotage. The enemy did not block the encounter randomly. It was strategic. Because Michael was carrying something too specific, too clear, too dangerous to the plans of hell. He was coming to clarify the very thing you've been praying about, to confirm what your spirit already suspected. But the resistance was assigned to confuse your emotions before the revelation could land. That's why you woke up unsure, agitated, spiritually numb, or emotionally overwhelmed. You were under surveillance, not from flesh and blood, but from principalities trying to trace your alignment. There are people around you, some who once celebrated you, who now shift in presence when you speak. They sense a fire in you they can't explain. They sense something is forming, and because they don't understand it, they may unconsciously pull away or press in too much. This tension is not personal. It's spiritual. They know something is happening, but they don't know what. The adversary uses that ignorance to cause suspicion, doubt, or distance. You've seen it. You felt it. It's real. You may have noticed sudden emotional swings, moments when joy seemed out of reach, where peace felt like a stranger, where your own inner voice seemed muffled. These are the emotional aftershocks of unseen warfare. What the enemy couldn't stop in heaven, he tried to suppress through your mind. But hear this now. The confusion you've walked through is not weakness. It's confirmation that something sacred was near. You were touching the edge of a divine message, and the resistance was a spiritual smoke screen to blur it. The heaviness you've carried is not a sign of failure. It's a sign of proximity. The burden came because heaven was near. Michael's presence brushed your atmosphere, and though blocked, the residue still lingers. That strange tug on your heart, that ache you can't quite explain, it is the imprint of an unfinished encounter. And now heaven is finishing what was started. God is uncovering the pattern. What was hidden in the fog is now coming into view. You are not crazy. You are not emotionally unstable. You are spiritually sensitive, and the war around you is a reflection of the message within you. The enemy fears the alignment of your emotions with your anointing. That's why this battle hath been so subtle, because it's been fought in the chambers of your soul. But now clarity comes, and with it, restoration of emotional authority. You will no longer be ruled by confusion. You will no longer question your worth in the wake of warfare. The fog lifts, the whispers cease, and the message returns. Type "I see" through the fog if this word finds you. Blessing code 1313 is now opening your discernment. If you felt the spiritual warfare we just spoke of, if you know that what was blocked is now breaking through, then this moment is sacred. Every seed you sow into this message becomes a torch in the hands of someone walking through the same darkness. When you give, you're not giving to a channel, you're fueling a movement of prophetic clarity. The light we release together chases shadows from another soul's path. Heaven is multiplying the oil on every message, every video, every word sent forth. The Lord says in 2 Corinthians 9:10, "He who supplies seed to the sower will also supply and increase your store of seed and will enlarge the harvest of your righteousness." That verse is alive for you now. I believe someone is being prompted right now, and if that's you, your giving is not random, it is prophetic. Support the flow of this word by clicking Super Thanks or joining as a monthly member. Or if you're led, use the PayPal link in the description to sow directly into the mission. This isn't a donation. This is a divine transaction. Blessing is released when obedience moves. The oil flows where there is honor. Sow into the word. Multiply the light. And watch heaven open. What you've just walked through was not confusion. It was divine testing. The interruption of Michael's visit was not because heaven forgot, nor because you were unworthy. It was because you were being watched, not only by principalities and powers, but by the eyes of heaven itself. Your reaction in the midst of silence, your posture when clarity seemed withheld, your obedience when revelation was delayed, all of it was recorded. You were not abandoned. You were being assessed. This conflict was never random. This storm did not rise without permission. The Father allowed the resistance not to break you, but to reveal what was already rising in you. Heaven measures strength not by how loud you speak, but by how well you listen under pressure. This is why you felt so isolated, because this test required no outside voices. It required the quiet, raw obedience of a soul tuned to the whisper of God. You must understand this. Spiritual warfare always intensifies around destiny. The enemy does not waste resources on the irrelevant. He does not attack the aimless. His opposition is confirmation. His interference is a signal. If Michael's visit was blocked, it's because the message carried weight. It was not empty encouragement. It was direction. It was strategy. It was truth sharp enough to sever confusion, and fire strong enough to ignite your next level. The silence you encountered wasn't punishment. It was a crucible. Heaven often watches how we handle silence before trusting us with sound. What looked like emotional paralysis was in fact a sacred filter. Heaven wanted to see, Could you still trust the unseen when nothing around you made sense? Could you discern warfare without falling into fear? Could you remain faithful when affirmation was withheld? And you did. You held the line. You didn't give up, even when you wanted to. You didn't walk away, even when your spirit felt exhausted. And because of that, heaven is moving. The Father is speaking again. The test is shifting into testimony. Michael fought on your behalf. You may not have seen the battle, but you felt the pressure, the weight in your chest, the swirling in your thoughts, the unexpected tears. These were not emotional outbursts, they were spiritual indicators. Michael's sword was drawn. Your endurance became the agreement that completed what his blade began. His warfare covered the realm above. Your obedience sealed it on earth. This is the truth you must carry now. The battle was never just about protection. It was about preparation. You are stepping into a season where spiritual sensitivity is no longer optional. It is required. What felt like delay was God ensuring your discernment would be sharp enough to handle what's next. This was a filter, not a failure. A proving ground, not a punishment. Do not rush to react. Interpret. Every moment, every silence, every tension, interpret it. Let the Spirit guide you beyond emotion into revelation. Heaven is aligning clarity with your courage. The same way Michael was sent, you are now being sent. But first, you had to be forged. Not in the fire of applause, but in the fire of silence. You passed the test. Now the instruction is coming again. Type "I have been proven" in the silence if this word speaks to you. Blessing code 1717 is now unlocking hidden strength. There is a shift coming, not next month, not next year, but within the next 72 hours. The atmosphere around you is beginning to tighten, not because something is wrong, but because heaven is applying pressure for exposure. The spiritual war that blocked Archangel Michael's visitation was not just about that one moment. It was a signal of greater activity, and now it is unfolding in real time. Listen closely. The pressure you feel in your relationships, in your emotions, even in your thoughts, is not chaos. It is alignment forcing pretenders to reveal themselves. People who have been smiling while secretly resisting your growth will begin to show their true face. Those who have been feeding your doubt under the disguise of concern will start to contradict themselves. Conversations you thought were safe will suddenly feel strange. Random outbursts, confusing statements, back-ended compliments. These are not accidents. They are manifestations. The spiritual realm is shaking loose the masks. The wheat is separating from the tares, and heaven is not asking for your permission. It is enforcing clarity. The enemy will try to use this moment to bait you. He will send distractions, arguments, and sudden emotional triggers not to destroy you, but to delay you again. Do I fall for it? Stay anchored. Stay alert. Stay inwardly aligned with heaven's whisper. This is not a time to explain. This is not a time to defend. This is a time to observe. The same enemy that tried to intercept the message will now attempt to distort your focus, so you miss what God is trying to show you. Do not let your guard down. There will be a moment, maybe in conversation, maybe in a text, maybe in a sudden feeling, when something shifts in your spirit. Do not ignore it. It will be the signal that the veil is lifting. What was once hidden in shadows will now step into your awareness. And when it does, you must not panic. You must not react emotionally. You must hold your spiritual ground. This confrontation will not be physical. It will be energetic. It will be a clash of atmospheres. Your peace versus their pressure. your discernment versus their deception, your obedience versus their opposition. The kingdom of darkness is desperate, because the word that was blocked is coming through anyway. And now heaven is preparing your environment to match your assignment. The shakings are not punishment. They are proof that the enemy is losing his grip. Michael is still near. His sword is not only symbolic, it is active. And just as he was sent to war for your instruction, he now stands watch over your steps. The Spirit of God says, hold your ground. Do not move until heaven says move. Do not leave too soon. Do not speak too quickly. Do not act without clarity. These next 3 days are critical. What you choose to engage or ignore will set the tone for what unfolds next. You will feel this tension rise. You may even sense something in your dreams, your atmosphere, or your body. Do not be afraid. Do not be confused. It is not chaos. It is confrontation. And heaven is in control. This is the final exposure before elevation. Stay ready. Stay hidden in God. Type I will not move without heaven if this word finds you. Blessing code 1441 is covering you with strategic grace. Be still. Not inactive but spiritually still. There is a difference. Heaven is not calling you to idleness. It is calling you to intentional stillness. When Archangel Michael descended on divine assignment, it was to deliver strategy, not noise. And though the encounter was blocked, the strategy is still unfolding. Your stillness now is your weapon. Your silence is your covering. In moments of high warfare, movement attracts unnecessary battles. But stillness confuses the enemy's camp. The Father is instructing you to guard your atmosphere. Not everyone can be allowed access right now. Not every conversation deserves a response. Not every invitation should be accepted. There is too much sacredness swirling in your spiritual space to risk contamination. This moment is holy. This assignment is sensitive. You are in a divine window where every word you speak carries weight. So speak less, listen more. Listen for heaven. Listen for nuance. Listen for what's not being said. Heaven's army is mobilized around you, but they move in silence. The enemy is looking for a crack, a window, an emotional leak through which confusion can slip in. But the angels assigned to your life have formed a new perimeter, unseen, but unbreakable. Every time you choose prayer over panic, worship over worry, silence over scattered thoughts, you reinforce that shield. You strengthen that wall. You agree with divine order. The Spirit of God says, do not explain your discernment in this hour. Not everyone will understand it. And not everyone was meant to. When Michael descended to deliver your message, it was not for a crowd, it was for you. Some messages must be carried in secret before they manifest in public. If you try to describe too soon what heaven is still unfolding, you risk reducing the purity of what's being built. This is why heaven says, guard your atmosphere. Keep the volume of your soul low. Do not post everything. Do not confess everything. Move with wisdom. This season is not about being visible, it's about being covered. And heaven is covering you well. Use this phrase as your shield. I receive what heaven preserved for me. Let it be a banner over your spirit. Speak it into your day. Whisper it before sleep. Declare it in your moments of pressure. That phrase is not just a statement. It is a key. It tells the realm of the unseen that you are aligned. It tells angels you are attentive. It tells the darkness you are unavailable for dissection. You are safe in stillness. You are protected in silence. You are surrounded, not abandoned. What tried to intercept your clarity has failed. What tried to confuse your mind is now unraveling. And the same angelic presence that came near in the midnight hour is now strengthening the borders of your life. Let no fear enter your gates. Let no anxiety find rest in your mind. You are not under attack. You are under divine preservation. Heaven is holding you until the message is fully delivered. The war was fierce. The resistance was real. But the protection is greater. Type I am hidden in God if this word speaks to you. Blessing code 1818 is now sealing your spiritual perimeter. You are not the same person who closed your eyes last night. Whether you realized it or not, something inside you crossed a threshold. What was once passive has become activated. What once waited in silence has risen in strength. The delay, the confusion, the emotional resistance, it did not crush you. It refined you. It recalibrated your atmosphere. It stripped away distractions and revealed a version of you that hell hoped would never emerge. Heaven did not allow the blockage to stop you. It allowed it to shape you. Because the truth is, you were not just waiting for an angel to visit. You were being prepared to carry what only warriors can carry. Michael wasn't just bringing you encouragement. He was delivering confirmation. And confirmation requires capacity. The warfare wasn't because you were weak, it was because you were about to awaken. And now, hear this clearly. You are no longer waiting. You are awakening. The flames of heaven are licking the edge of your calling. The fire inside of you is no longer flickering. It is roaring. Every moment of silence has now become strength. Every unanswered prayer, every ignored cry, every night you laid still under the weight of unspoken questions, it has all been translated into oil. Oil for the next level. Oil for the assignment. Oil for the fight you didn't even know you were training for. You are now the storm breaker, not the one being stormed. The Spirit of the Lord is fastening wings of light upon your back. These wings are not for escaping your circumstances. They are for elevating above them. You are being given spiritual altitude. You will begin to see what others miss. You will begin to discern what others dismiss. Your words will carry a sharpness. Your prayers will carry power. Your presence will shift rooms, not because of who you are in the flesh, but because of what hath been sealed inside your spirit. Do not shrink. Do not second-guess this transformation. The enemy hoped the delay would depress you. Heaven used it to develop you. What the adversary tried to use as sabotage, God flipped into sanctification. Your eyes have been opened. Your posture has changed. Your spirit is standing taller than your history. You no longer move from desperation. You move from dominion. You must now walk as one who has seen behind the veil. You must speak with the boldness of one who has survived the interruption and still kept their faith. You must rise as one who is not simply trying to hear a word, but has become the word. Michael's visitation may have been blocked, but the essence of what he carried has now entered your spirit. And with it comes responsibility to move forward, to carry light into dark places, to walk through doors without begging for permission. You are chosen. You are equipped. You are unshaken. Let this be the moment where you stop questioning if you're qualified. Let this be the hour where you no longer wait for clarity, but move in the authority that heaven already granted you. You are not waiting for the fire to fall. You are the fire. Type I carry the fire if this word finds you. Blessing code 2020 is now igniting your spiritual authority. Now hear this with your spirit wide open. The encounter that was blocked carried more than comfort. It carried a key. Archangel Michael did not come simply to soothe your soul. He came to unlock something divine. a level, a role, an instruction that would shift your destiny forward. The message that was intercepted was not a general encouragement. It was a royal decree. The enemy did not fight because he saw weakness in you. He fought because he saw what you were about to access. What Michael carried was a seal of authority. Heaven had reviewed your capacity, your obedience, your pain, your pruning, and still said, release it to them. That instruction was to mark the beginning of your spiritual promotion. And hell tried to intercept it. The adversary does not fight unless there is something worth blocking. And what you were about to receive would have shut down old cycles, exposed hidden enemies, and activated a level of discernment that would make deception powerless in your life. But hear this, the enemy failed. He delayed the message, but he could not destroy it. He interrupted the dream, but he could not erase the word. Because what is sealed in heaven cannot be broken by man, and cannot be held back by darkness. What Michael carried is now being delivered through revelation. The same word the angel was carrying that night is now entering your atmosphere by the Spirit of the living God. This was not an attack of destruction. It was a confirmation of your spiritual promotion. You have been entrusted with delay. That is why the silence felt so sharp. That is why the confusion felt so aggressive. Heaven was watching. Would you panic or press in? Would you curse the quiet or stay faithful in it? And you did. You waited, even in weariness. You trusted, even through the tears. You stayed spiritually awake, even when your flesh was crying out for comfort. And now, the Lord says, you have proven trustworthy with delay. You have been weighed, and you have not been found lacking. Heaven is releasing the word again, this time unhindered. This time uncovered. This time clothed in fire. What is the message? The message is this. You have been chosen to carry light into dark systems. You are not being called to stay in the safety of what is familiar. You are being sent as a torchbearer into places where light is rare, where truth is resisted, where compromise has been normalized. You are the exception. You are the voice rising in clarity when others speak confusion. You are the standard bearer. And now, heaven is authorizing you to step into that realm fully, with the backing of angelic presence and divine instruction. The fire that once flickered is now a sword in your mouth. The authority that was delayed is now tangible in your voice. You are not just carrying an assignment. You are the assignment. Heaven has sealed this word in clarity and boldness. No more hesitation. No more spiritual amnesia. No more second-guessing what you already know deep within. You are not here by chance. You are here because God trusted you with resistance, and now rewards you with revelation. Type I am trusted with revelation if this word finds you. Blessing code 1555 is now opening prophetic access. If this message confirmed what your spirit already knew, then this is your moment to respond with honor. You are not just watching a video, you're participating in the release of prophetic clarity. Every time you sow into this message, you help break interference for someone else. What was once blocked in your life becomes the breakthrough in someone else's. This is how spiritual momentum is multiplied. The word declares in Luke 6:38, "Give, and it shall be given unto you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over." That is not a metaphor. It is a living promise. And right now, it is being activated over every giver. If you feel led, move in obedience. You can click super thanks or become a monthly supporter through membership. Or if the Lord is stirring your heart, sow directly through the PayPal link in the description. Every act of giving becomes a prophetic echo, declaring, "What heaven tried to release in me will not be blocked again." Move in faith. Sow in alignment. Watch the windows of heaven open. You must now act, not from fear, not from confusion, but from divine alignment. Destiny does not respond to emotion. It responds to obedience. And now that the word has reached you, the very word that was blocked, delayed, resisted, the only appropriate response is movement. Delayed obedience is still disobedience. The heavens have reopened the channel, and now all of heaven is watching to see what you do next. Declare this aloud with holy authority. I realign with divine timing. I receive what was delayed. When you say this, you are not reciting poetry. You are activating prophecy. Those words are not light. They are legal. They echo through dimensions and force spiritual gates to unlock. Your declaration is the sound of agreement. And when you agree with heaven, earth must shift. Michael was sent to deliver more than a message. He was sent to activate your assignment. The resistance was not random. It was designed to see if you would remain paralyzed by the block or awaken at the sound of God's voice. And now that the resistance has failed, heaven is watching for your response. This is no longer about waiting. This is about walking. It's about moving forward in spiritual boldness, even when you don't yet see the full picture. Every decision you make in the next 7 days matters. The conversations you engage in, the doors you knock on, the silence you keep, the risks you take. The Spirit is hovering over your obedience like a cloud of fire, waiting for you to act on what your spirit already knows. There are alignments being orchestrated in the background. Phone calls, divine meetings, unexpected favor, all waiting for the sound of your yes. This is the moment where heaven shifts from observation to orchestration. The sword that Michael drew in the Spirit was not simply for protection. It was to slice open a portal of timing. What was sealed before is now available. What was held back is now flowing. You are standing in a window of divine acceleration. The veil between idea and manifestation has never been thinner. But manifestation requires movement. Stop waiting for confirmation when clarity has already come. Stop asking for permission from people who were never assigned to your calling. You were not created to tiptoe around destiny. You were designed to walk in it with authority. The same authority that was carried by Michael is now echoing in your voice. His sword is your symbol, reminder that what you say now must match what heaven already declared. Speak it. Move on it. Build it. Write it. Start it. Leave it. Forgive it. Align it. But do not sit still any longer. Heaven's word must become your movement. The promise must now take form in your behavior. You will not stay stuck. You will not stay hidden. You will not remain on the sideline of your own calling. This is your divine re-entry point. You are not late. You are right on prophetic time. Every detour was a setup. Every resistance was a test. Every silence was preparation. Now move. I step into my next if this word activated you. Blessing code 3232 is now marking your path with favor. As you hear these words, a silent transaction is already in motion. You may not see it with your eyes. You may not fully grasp it with your mind. But your spirit knows. Something is moving, not in the physical but in the unseen. The realms are not quiet. They are not passive. Even in the silence of your room, even in the stillness of your body, the heavens are busy rewriting what the enemy tried to block. There are moments in your life where everything feels still, and yet, those are often the moments of the greatest divine activity. Last night was one of those moments. You thought it was just another restless night, another strange dream, Another morning waking up confused. But in the spirit, files were open. Conversations were taking place. Your name was spoken. And the transaction that hell tried to delay was placed back into motion. Michael was dispatched for a reason. What he carried was not just a word, it was a spiritual document. It was a scroll sealed with divine timing and angelic witness. And though his passage was interrupted, the content was never lost. It was preserved in the spirit. It hovered over your life, waiting for your agreement. And now, as you listen, as you come into alignment, the transaction is finalizing. Heaven is handing over what was always yours. There is movement in the throne room. There are angels moving like scribes, like messengers, like witnesses to what is being exchanged. While you sleep, heaven speaks. While you cry, heaven records. While you wait, heaven prepares. Nothing you have experienced has been wasted. The pressure, the silence, the strange heaviness. It was not emotional disorder. It was the spiritual weight of divine delivery. The Spirit whispers, nothing was lost. It was withheld for divine timing. And now the time has come. The enemy fought to block the delivery because he knew what was contained in it: clarity, instruction, elevation, release. But he cannot stop what God reorders. What was intercepted is now being rerouted. What was tangled in warfare is now being loosed in worship. You don't need to see it to receive it. You only need to agree. And as your heart says yes, the final signature is written in the Spirit. The scroll is opened. The message is sealed into your soul. The shift begins. This is the transaction. Your confusion for clarity. Your delay for direction. Your weariness for renewed strength. Your silence for divine strategy. All of it is being exchanged in holy stillness, and all of it is taking place right now. You are not alone. You are not overlooked. You are in the middle of a divine exchange that the enemy could not stop. This is why you felt what you felt. This is why your sleep hath been interrupted. This is why you've been walking in a fog, sensing something but unable to touch it. Because heaven was holding the file, waiting for this moment. And now, because you have stayed awake in spirit, the scroll is being released. There is peace in the transaction. There is power in your agreement. There is fire in your yes. Type I receive the divine exchange if this word confirms what you felt. Blessing code 7171 is now writing victory into your timeline. Justice has already been activated. You may not have seen the gavel fall, but the verdict has been spoken in the throne room of the Almighty. Heaven does not forget interference. It does not overlook resistance. And it surely does not ignore when divine messengers are blocked from their assignments. What Archangel Michael carried on the night of your encounter was time-sensitive, sacred, and sealed in heaven's will. The enemy may have delayed it, but he will pay for it. The Lord says, I will deal with what delayed you. Every interruption, every sabotage, every whisper of doubt sent to cloud your vision, it has been recorded. And now, the same God who sent the message is now moving to release divine consequences. What was done in darkness is being judged in light. What was plotted against your peace is being reversed for your promotion. This is not just about you. This is about the spiritual order that was violated. Heaven responds when its assignments are tampered with. And now, that response is moving in your favor. The delay is becoming repayment. The silence is becoming vindication. The confusion is becoming exposure. You are about to see justice manifest, not just internally but around you. Those who misjudged you, who mocked your obedience, who laughed at your silence, who walked away when your spirit was under attack, they will witness your restoration, not because you seek revenge, but because heaven honors endurance. What you endured in the quiet, God is about to reward in the open. The Lord says, I will return what was stolen, but I will not return it the way it was taken. The restoration will not be equal, it will be multiplied. The seasons that were swallowed by warfare will be repaid with acceleration. The relationships that were lost in confusion will be replaced with covenant. The clarity that was blocked will return with boldness. This is not a slow rebuild. This is a divine reversal. You will begin to see it. Patterns will shift. Conversations will change. What once strained you will suddenly lose its hold. What once confused you will suddenly make sense. Doors that once refused to open will now swing wide. This is not karma. This is kingdom. The scales are being balanced. The hand of God is restoring the timeline that was tampered with. Even in the unseen, there are movements of reversal. The angels who ward over your message are now rejoicing over your recompense. The same spirit that hovered in the night is now speaking justice into your morning. And where your name was once tied to delay, it will now be associated with deliverance. You will not leave this season empty-handed. You will not walk away from the battle bruised and forgotten. You will be rebuilt with precision. You will be rewarded with clarity. And those who doubted your survival will witness your elevation. This is not just recovery. This is resurrection. The divine court has ruled. The verdict is in. The enemy's interference has been overruled. And the one who was delayed is now the one being delivered into a season of multiplied reward. Type I receive divine justice if this word is your confirmation. Blessing code 1919 is now reversing every illegal delay. This is the message Archangel Michael was sent to deliver. You are seen. You are covered. You are chosen. What was blocked has now been spoken. What was delayed has now arrived. What your spirit knew but could not touch is now live in you. The encounter is no longer pending, it is present. The resistance has been overruled. The scroll has been opened. The silence has been broken. You were never forgotten. The delay was not denial. The interruption was not rejection. It was divine protection. Because what God sends cannot be rushed. It must be received in the fullness of alignment. And now, the alignment is here. The season has shifted. The visitation has resumed. Not in the same form, but in greater clarity. Not in the shadows of dreams, but in the fullness of revelation. Let the weight lift off your chest. Let the pressure dissolve. Let your mind come into peace. The resistance is no longer ruling your atmosphere. The angels who ward for your message are now watching over your movement. You are not wandering. You are being led. You are not delayed. You are being accelerated. You are not waiting for a sign. You have become the sign. You are the one chosen to carry this word forward. What came to you in warfare, you will now release in authority. What was whispered in silence, you will now speak with fire. Your voice hath been unlocked. Your instruction has been confirmed. Your path has been cleared. You walk now not as one who's confused, but as one who has come out of the fire carrying divine strategy and holy stillness. Peace now returns to your atmosphere. Heaven is not just over you, it is within you. The Spirit of God says you are sealed. You are seen. You are sent. You carry the residue of the visitation. You carry the oil of obedience. You carry the sword of the message. And now, rise. Rise in authority. Rise in purity. Rise in clarity. Rise in timing. For what was once delayed hath been released. What was once hidden have been uncovered, and the one who fought in the silence will now move in the fullness of sound. Tonight, the encounter will resume, not as interruption, but as restoration. Type "I am sealed" and send if this word restored you. Blessing code 8888 is now wrapped around your journey. If this message confirmed what you felt in your spirit, if it unlocked what the enemy tried to bury, then this is your moment to act in alignment. You are not just receiving a word, you are carrying it. And now, God is calling you to help carry it further. When you give, you help pierce through the same darkness that once tried to silence you. In Malachi 3:10, the Lord says, "Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse and see if I will not open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that there will not be room enough to store it." That promise isn't dead, it's alive, and it speaks now over your obedience. This is not just support, it is a spiritual partnership. If you feel stirred to give, you can use the Super Thanks button, become a monthly member, or sow directly through PayPal using the link in the video description. Every seed opens a gate. Every offering becomes warfare in someone else's deliverance. This is how we keep the fire burning. Move now. Respond in faith. And let your giving declare, "Nothing heaven gives me will ever be blocked again."